Now we have the brush, now we can start making the seamless texture. There are a few things you should keep in mind. Always try to work on a big file, like 2048 pixels by 2048 pixels. That is far too big to use as a pattern later, but it'll give you good control over your texture, and in a later stage you can always scale it down to a more usable size. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to create a new file and make this 2048 by 2048 pixels. Okay, here it is. I'm going to work in as many layers as possible, because using a lot of layers will be able to give you good control over what you want to create. I will start with a background color, so I use the bucket fill tool. I use a nice color, like for instance something bluish that I made before. Okay, and I fill the background with this blue color. Then I create a new layer, and that layer will be the same file size, of course, and has transparency. And now I will start with our new brush. We click the brush, we select the brush we just imported that we are going to use, and now we are going to change some of these settings here to the left. We have the proper brush. If you look at this, you will see it is black, and I don't like that. I want it to be white and a bit transparent. So I make this with Ctrl Z. I undo this, and I'm going to change some of the settings. I want this to be max 90% opacity, or 96, something of the kind. I want to scale it down a little bit to like 75% there, and I open here the brush dynamics. The opacity can be random, so is the hardness and the size, and I want to use the color from gradient. Now here you see white blue. That is because we have white blue here. If I change this into a light gray, like this for instance, okay, you can see that here it is from light gray. Make sure that this is ticked. Look here, so you get a whitish flower. Now we are going to make that seamless texture. Let me remove the ones that I have here. What we have to fill now in this layer is a square like this form. In the middle of this form we are going to make our flowers, and we can do that more or less random. We just click and we get bigger and smaller, and we make them like this, and they can be a bit over each other, or I leave that to your fantasy. And because this is set to random, you will notice that not one of the textures that you make will be the same. And just lean back and see if it is to your likings. If you say, well, I need one more here, a lighter one, and I need one more here, a smaller one, well, that is exactly as it is. Good, this is one layer. Now I'm going to duplicate this layer, and this layer I'm going to use to fill up the corners that we have here, and we are going to do that by choosing Layer, Transform and Offset. The full picture is 2048 by 2048, so I will make my offset exactly half of it, 1024 by 1024, and I say offset, and you see now that the top layer has filled up these corners, and I can assure you this is absolutely completely seamless texture. This is the blue version. We can of course make another background by clicking new layer and we say OK and fill this with the bucket tool, choosing a different color, like for instance a pink one. OK, and fill it with a pink one. There, and then we have two different textures, one blue and one pink. Now what we are going to do, we save this file and we save it as a Gimp file, so we have all these layers and we can later make, for instance, a green one or a yellow one or a light gray one or a white on white one or whatever. So we save this as, and then give it a name, seamless texture, for instance, and save it in the folder that we want to save it in. There we go. Save. Now we have saved it in with all the layers. To make a pattern file that we can use in our pattern window, we need to save these as a pattern. The easiest way is to save a copy, and the copy seamless texture pink, and from the file type here we choose a pattern file. Here it is, a Gimp pattern, and we say save. We can merge all the visible layers, that is fine, and we say export. The description should be seamless texture pink. Save. Done. And we can do the same using the blue one. File, save as a copy. It gives you the name .pat. So now you only have to change this into blue and say save it. There we go. We made our seamless texture, and they are in the pat files. Now you remember we made them in a very huge size. So I'm going to close this one. Yes, well, save it, sure. And I'm going to open file, open the pat files that I just made. Here is the blue one and here is the pink one. Open them. Here they are. And all I need to do now is scale them. So I choose image, scale image, and from the 2048 I scale them down to 512 by 512. Okay, scale down. Control S, save it, close this one, image, scale image, and do the same here, 512 by 512 scale, and Control S, save it. There we go. That is our seamless texture. Now all we need to do is make sure that these patterns are in our pattern windows. We do that the same way we did it with the brush. You go to Edit, Preferences, you open your folders, and this time you go to your patterns. You see this one is the one that is selected, so you Control C or copy this address. Now you open a Explorer window like this, and here Control V, you paste that pattern and you say go there. Open another Explorer window where you have your two new made paths. Select them both holding the Control button and drag them to your folder that Gimp uses to show the patterns. You can close this, you can say OK, and here you click the refresh button, and now you see here are your new patterns arrived, the pink one